So the big news that broke late Friday is that indeed Twitter has banned Donald Trump permanently from its platform. We're going to go through the decision that Twitter made and then talk about the implications. Twitter putting out a statement saying, after a close review of recent tweets from the Trump account and the context around them, specifically how they're being received and interpreted on and off Twitter, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement of violence. In the context of horrific events this week, we made it clear on Wednesday that additional violations of the Twitter rules would potentially result in this very course of action. Our public interest framework exists to enable the public to hear from elected officials and world leaders directly. It is built on a principle that the people have a right to hold power to account in the open. However, we made it clear going back years that these accounts are not above our rules entirely and cannot use Twitter to incite violence, among other things. We will continue to be transparent around our policies and their enforcement. Now, reportedly, when this happened, the word being used is ballistic. Trump went ballistic at the White House when he was banned from Twitter. A senior administration said that when Twitter permanently took down Trump's account, Trump was scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. Initially, Trump started tweeting through the official POTUS account. Now, the POTUS account is an account that is in the hands of whoever is president. So it's not Trump's account. It's Trump has access to it while being president. That has been shut down. Trump then tried tweeting through one of his aides or staffers. That was shut down. And the president reportedly running around the White House going absolutely crazy. The White House then put out a statement saying Trump is negotiating with other sites and looking at building his own platform and blah, 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 blah. So there's a number of different important things we have to talk about here. First of all, there's lots of really bad arguments being made by people on the right and people on the left, including that Twitter shouldn't be allowed to do this, either because they are silencing only right-wing voices, which is untrue, or because Trump is president of the United States. The guidelines are already a lower bar for world leaders. Twitter has said, and it was even implicit in the statement they put out, Twitter has said that when one is a world leader, they err on the side of not taking content down and not banning, because they've determined, and I agree with their determination, that it is important for us to know what world leaders are saying. However, we would expect our elected officials to be held to a higher standard than the average Twitter user with 2 followers sending me hate tweets, right? Like, in other words, it's counterintuitive that world leaders, some of the most powerful people in the world, get held to an even lower standard merely because they are world leaders. That's been the case all along. Twitter is a business that is allowed to have terms of service and they're allowed to enforce it. But consider the greater hypocrisy that many on the right are now essentially arguing Americans have an inalienable right to be able to tweet. Any limitation on their ability to tweet is unconstitutional. It's a violation of rights granted by, God, the Constitution, who knows. And by the way, there's no right to health care. Healthcare is a product that should be bought and sold on the free market if you can afford it. But you cannot be restricted in your ability to tweet. Give me a break, guys. These people have been pathetic for a very long time. Don Jr. then coming out and saying, whoa, we have to do something about the market monopoly power of Twitter. Where are we on antitrust? Well, look at your dad. I have been out there for years saying we are not, and we've done multiple interviews, we are not dealing seriously with the antitrust law that we have, and we have not enforced it. I've been talking about that for years. But all of a sudden, the day Trump's banned from Twitter, Don Jr. cares about monopoly power. Give me a break, guys. So the truth is Trump's account should have been removed long ago. There should be a higher standard on elected officials, not a lower standard. And Trump got away with it this long. But now there is sort of this deluge. There's, for lack of a better term, these massive dumps of bans and suspensions that are coming now since the riotous insurrection. Now, a cautionary message. Despite my belief that this is the right thing to do, based on Trump's use of Twitter and incitements to violence and defense of the rioters, Despite the fact that we're saying it was correct to ban Trump 12 days before he leaves office forever, this is a sign of how much we've failed as a country over the last 4 years to control Donald Trump and to hold accountable the people who defended him. The rats leaving the sinking ship now, Betsy DeVos, William Barr, Republican Senator Pat Toomey, who now says Trump should go, Chris Christie, who now says Trump should be impeached. They are right. Yes, sure. But we're 12, 11, 10, now 9 days out as they are doing these things. They do not deserve to have their images rehabilitated. And we're going to talk about that after the break. But we will have more coverage of the Trump Twitter ban and social media implications on our Instagram, where you can find us at David Pakman Show. And you can find me on Instagram as well at david.pakman. Start your day and your new year off right with Just Egg, which is one of our sponsors. You've heard me talk about the importance of having a diet that is more heavily plant-based, and it's something I've done over the last few years. I've always loved eggs, so it's great that there is a delicious plant-based version of egg with all the protein of egg that Just Egg brings with it, but it's made from mung beans, so it uses 98% less water and causes 93% fewer carbon emissions than a conventional egg. And Just Egg cooks and tastes exactly like a conventional egg. I've tried it for omelets, scrambled eggs, French toast, banana bread, pad thai, anything you'd normally use eggs for. And I actually think if I cooked something for a friend without telling them about Just Egg, they wouldn't even know the difference. Find it in the egg aisle at your grocery store, on Amazon Prime now, or on Instacart. And they also have a frozen version perfect for breakfast sandwiches. Just Egg. Try it out.